Hello, Namaste. This is Professor Sridhar here from KSSCM, Kamavari Sangha School of Engineering and Management from the Department of Management Studies. Today I am going to discuss some important topics of organizational leadership, OL. The first unit is all about the introductory part of leadership, that is what I mean by leadership. It's an influencing process, and you're going to motivate your followers to achieve organizational objective through some changes, because without any change you cannot bring any development. Okay, and achievement of organizational goal depends on some sort of changes are required, and that's going to happen by the influencing process initiated by a leader. There are so many definitions of leadership. It's a potential to influence behavior of others. Leadership is a potential to influence the behavior of his followers, his others. So it is also defined as capacity to influence a group towards the realization of the goal. Okay, there is another beautiful definition. It is also a capacity to influence your team members. You should make them to realize their goals. Okay, what should be my goal, and how my goal is integrated with my organizational goal. So this realization should happen by the initiative of your leaders. And leaders are required to develop future vision to motivate the organizational members to want to achieve the vision. So this is a basic definition of leader. Okay, who is a leader, leadership. And if you look at what are the key elements of leadership, please remember the major key elements of leadership is influence and leader followers. Already I have told you, change is very important element of leadership. Okay, because as a leader you need to bring lot of changes. It may be organizational point of view or even individual point of view. Okay, individual changes are also equally important, and organizational changes. And people, another important element of leadership, because as a leader you are going to mold the personality of others. Okay, and it is organizational objective is one aspect of leadership. So these are the key elements of leadership. And why leadership is important? Okay, this is another general question they might ask you. What are the, why the leadership is very important? Okay, as you know, it's an initiative action, because leader is a person who is going to initiate a lot of new things. And it's a motivation, because always we need somebody to motivate us, somebody to push us. So leadership is important to motivate the team members and providing guidance, because leader is someone who has a tremendous experience and great knowledge. Okay, so his guidance is required for an effective achievement of the goal. And creative confidence. Okay, to create confidence, sometimes the employees feel demotivated, or even though if they are capable, they don't have confidence. So somebody is required to make them to realize that yes, it is possible. Okay, that they are confident to achieve that. So the leadership is important to create the confidence and building morale and builds work environment. Okay, so these are the very important aspect in the leadership. And what are the characteristics or features of leadership? So this question is also very general. So what are the characteristics of leadership? Leadership is a process of influencing the behavior of others. So remember always, because this subject is all about the the OB what we have studied, organization behavior, and your individual behavior, perception, attitude, personality. So that way you need to always link all the concept with respect to this, because this characteristics of leadership is all about influencing the behavior of others, interpersonal process, attainment of common organizational goal. Because as a leader you need to motivate your team members to achieve your company goal. And leadership is a continuous process. It is also a group process. So don't think always as a leader I will do, I am going to do everything. No, it is you have to take your team along with you. So group process, and it depends on situation. So as a leader you should be more dynamic. You should approach very spontaneous strategy to manage people and situation. What are the roles of a leader? This question frequently asked question, in fact. Okay, what are the different roles played by a leader? It is one thing is interpersonal role. Okay, interpersonal role, informational role, decisional role. Okay, in interpersonal role we can identify as figurehead, leader role, liaison role. So figurehead means it's the leader is going to perform the figurehead role. That means he's a main personality. he or she is going to represent organization, represent the department. Okay, that's a figurehead. And a leader role, so going to play a major role with respect to managing the leading the team, maybe hiring, training, evaluating performance, so leading capacity. And a liaison role, okay, leader is going to perform a liaison role, that is they are going to interact with the people outside the organization. Liaison behavior, like networking to develop a relationship, gain information and favor. Okay, so these are the different aspects of the interpersonal role. And informational role, in that monitor role, disseminator role, spokesperson. Okay, the leader is going to monitor the activities, leader is going to disseminate, that means distribution of the knowledge. Okay, disseminating knowledge. And spokesperson, and is going to act as a spokesperson role, that means when they provide information to people outside the organization, people must report information to their boss. So the leaders lobby and serve as a public relation representatives for their companies. And in third category, decisional role, entrepreneur role, disturbance handler, resource allocator, and negotiator role. Okay, he is going to act as a entrepreneur. Okay, because he will have great resources. When they innovate and initiate improvement, leaders often get an idea of improvement through the monitoring role. And the entrepreneurial spirit is important. Disturbance handler, if there is any conflict in the organization, leader is going to solve the conflict, handling the disturbance in the organization, try to build a good relationship among the people, between employees, or between employee and employer. So this disturbance handling is a very important role. And resource allocator role, okay, there is also important role of a leadership, he or she is going to allocate the resources. And negotiator role, sometimes the leader must have a very strong negotiation skills. It may be pay and benefits, or with labor union, or contact with the customers, but ultimately the leader must have that negotiating role. And what are the different level of analysis of leadership theory? Levels and the analysis of leadership theory. Okay, leadership theory explains some aspect of leadership, the practical value, because they are going to use the better understand, predict, and control successful leadership. So this we can, it is easy to remember. Only three levels are there. Okay, levels of analysis of leadership theory. The first level is individual level of analysis. Second one, group level of analysis. Third level, organizational level of analysis. So what is the first level? That is the individual level of analysis, the leadership attitude, ethical leadership, basic leadership, the ethics, leadership traits, leadership behavior, and leadership grid, motivation aspects, impact of power, politics, okay, contingency. These are the part of individual level. When you come to second, group level analysis, that is communication skill for a leader, the coaching, leadership, the psychological contract, leader, and the team leadership, self-managed teams. With respect to team, the second category. And third one is organizational level, that is organizational point of view, the performance in the long run depends on effective adapting environment through charismatic leadership, because some leader is going to have a great future plan. So transformational leadership, transactional leadership, so this comes in the third category. And there are different leadership theories. Okay, the classification of leadership paradigms we can identify: trait theory of leadership, behavioral theory of leadership, contingency theory of leadership, integrative leadership theory paradigm. So please remember, all these are very important leadership theory. The four leadership theory: trait, behavioral, integrative, and contingency. Okay, so trait theory is already I have told you many times, it's all about the characteristics, okay, features. What are the traits? Okay, so based on the traits. And the contingency leadership, contingency means the situational based. Okay, the leader must have a strong skill with respect to managing the different situation. And third one is integrative leadership theory, that is the followers of some leaders are willing to work so hard and make personal sacrifices to achieve the group and organizational objective. So integrating the people efforts, integrating the resources is of where integrative leadership traits. and behavioral leadership style, that is with respect to behavioral aspects, how your different approach, different styles are going to influence the behavior of followers. So those are the theories you can remember always, okay, for important theories. And there may be a question, what is the difference between leadership and management? Okay, so this is also very simple. It's something like what you studied in your first semester MBA. What is the difference between entrepreneur and manager, something like that. So leader is a skill of leading others by example, but management is an art of systematically organize, coordinate the things in the effective way. And the leadership actually runs based on the trust, but management always believes in control. Got it? And leadership is going to emphasize on inspiring people, but management manage the activity. Okay, somehow whether you are working with pain or pleasure, I don't want, but things should happen. Manage the activity is my responsibility. You should do it. That's it. But leadership is not like that. Leadership is going to understand their requirement, understand their way of working, and understand their emotions and inspiring people. And leadership is all about the influence, but management is rule oriented. And leadership is always more proactive. Okay, before something happens, the leader is going to predict the future and take some corrective action, but management is always more reactive. Okay, so these are the general the difference between leadership and management. And the same thing also we can identify manager and leader. Manager is a person who becomes manager by virtue of his position, but a person becomes a leader on the basis of his personal quality. Okay, if you have that personal great quality, then only you can become a leader. But many times you can become a manager easily. You finish your MBA and you go and you can become a manager, but you cannot become a leader. Understand? For a period of time, because of your great experience, your struggle, your learning, your hard work is going to shape out your personality to become a leader. But simply by finishing MBA, you cannot become a leader. Only you can become a manager. You can go and occupy that position. Understand? So that is the difference between manager and leader. And manager, the subordinates are the followers of manager, but the group of employees whom the leader lead is followers always. Okay, so they actually work because of that inspiration. Okay, so manager, it is always a more stable, but leadership is very temporary. Remember, because lifelong you can become a HR manager, marketing manager, but leadership is not like that. Okay, so it is something like that. It's a quality is inherent, but sometimes that designation is very temporary. And a manager is going to perform all different functions of management, but leader influence people to work. That is very important. And always there is a question, are leaders born or made? Okay, there is an argument whether leaders are born or made. Okay, so leaders are born, not made. There are some justification, and leaders are made, not born. There is also some justification. And this is a very introductory part of your first unit. Okay, you can just expect a question like, what do you mean by trait? That means your characteristics. And what is the leader? What do you mean by leadership? Difference between leadership. Different leadership theories, level of analysis of leadership theories, and the roles of leader. Okay, whether leaders are born or made. These are the very introductory part of your leadership, organizational leadership. Now we'll go to the second unit, that is the leadership trait and ethics. The content unit is always the personality, trait and leadership. Okay, personality and traits. So it's going to focus more on that. Okay, so personality is something, the relatively stable set of psychological characteristics that's going to influence the way individual is going to interact with the environment. Okay, it is relatively the dynamic organization with the individual working with a different personality. And the characteristics of personality, it is consistency. It may relate to psychological and impact of behavior and actions. Okay, and what are the different determinants of personality? Heredity, I think you have studied in your OB. Okay, it's the aspects of personality: heredity, environment, right? Because the environment is going to shape our personality. Sometimes heredity also. Okay, sometimes situation. After facing so many situations, worst situation in life, probably I may emerge as a great leader. I may emerge as a great strong person. So situation is also one determinant of personality. And the physical factors, social factors, cultural, okay, a lot of factors are going to determine the personality. In personality, you must remember one model that is called as a Big Five model. Okay, the Big Five model, traits, factors. your extroversion, agreeableness, adjustment, emotional stability, concise, consistency, openness to experience. Okay, it is how the different factors of a big five model. Please remember the extrovert. The personality dimension includes the dominance, which is personality trait of wanting to be charged or leading, and agreeableness. A person is strong in this personality dimension will have a behavior like very warm, friendly, sociable, and emotional stability like your EQ. Okay, the traits includes the dimensions related to emotional stability, and the consistentness is a personality dimension includes the related to achievement. Leader showing tendency for the self discipline and openness to experience. This personality dimension includes traits relating to being willing to change and try new things always. Okay, so these are the different the big five model personality aspects, right? There are some people are very emotionally stable, very extrovert, or the openness to experiences. They're more creative and have unconventional beliefs which contact with the weaker performances. So this big five model is always very important aspect. And other personality aspect we can see even MBTI also. Okay, and the different leadership theories and traits. Here one question, the frequently asked question is the traits of effective leader. Okay, what are the traits of effective leader? Again, same certain qualities what we have already discussed, like dominance, high energy. Okay, sometimes the leader should dominate. Okay, it is very important because of some situation demands like that. And high energy, self confidence, locus of control, stability, integrity, intelligence, flexibility, sensitivity to others are the very important traits of a leader. And there are different theories also you should study here, the personality profile and effective leaders. Like one is the achievement motivation theory. Okay, achievement motivation theory, in that the need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation. Remember this in achievement motivation theory. Okay, need for achievement, need for power, and need for affiliation. For some people they get motivated because of the strong achievement need. Okay, the goal oriented and willing to take personal responsibility for solving the problem. They have a strong urge towards the achievement. Some people will have strong urge towards the power. Okay, so always yes, I want to reach that position, that power. And some people for affiliation, right, of the sensitivity to others. It's a unconscious concern of developing, maintaining the close personal relationship with a strong affiliation need. So in achievement theory you must remember those three. And leadership attitude. So the other important theory, I'm sure you are aware about this, theory X and theory Y. Okay, so theory X is attitude hold that employees dislike the work. It is always the negative perception towards the employees. That means the employees are lazy, they don't work very positively, they try to escape from the work. That is theory X. Okay, and theory Y is positive attitude hold that employee like to work. It's a positive version towards the employees. Employees, they like to work, they don't need a very close supervision. If you encourage them, they work like anything. So all positive approach towards a theory X. This is another important personality theory. You can remember theory X and theory Y. And Pygmalion effect. Okay, so Pygmalion effect, it is the purpose that leaders attitude towards expectation of followers and their treatment of them explain and predict the followers behavior and performances in the people are influenced by the expectations built upon. What is this Pygmalion effect? The leader, you should always hold a positive and high expectation, okay, that your team will solve the difficult problems. So meet those seemingly great challenges more often. They will meet or exceed your expectation. There is a Pygmalion effect. The others' actions, our belief, and others' belief. How are you going to influence this? So leaders are going to set very clear standards and expect the best from their followers. Okay, so it is expectations are stated as objectives and standards. Okay, so that's how you are going to increase the capacity of your team. So in other words, you can say people are influenced by the expectation built upon them. In a very simple terminology, I'll explain you. Okay, Pygmalion effect. people are influenced by the expectation built upon them. That's called Pygmalion effect. For example, I will tell you, okay, like, I have a great expectation on you. You're going to score very high and you're going to get the rank for our institution. So I'm going to build expectation on you, right? This is called Pygmalion effect. So because of this expectation, you also try to give your best. You also try to, somewhere you get motivated, and yes, I want to keep up the word of my faculty or my guru. So definitely I want to do this. So this is going to motivate you. This effect is called as the Pygmalion effect. That means our belief and others' belief, our actions and others' actions. Okay, towards us, what is their action? And towards others, what is my action? This is also important. And what is my belief towards other, and what is others' belief towards me, right? For example, simply if I say, no, you have to do that, you will not do, okay, because what action I have taken, what belief I have, and what belief you have towards me is also important. For example, if you really consider me as a very good faculty, very good guru, definitely you listen to me. Yes, I should achieve my expectation of my faculty, so I will do that. That motivation will come. If I am a very bad person and I don't have a good image at all, so people will not respect me. In that case, if I tell also, hey, I have great expectation, you should do, hey, who are you to tell me? Openly you may not say, but you're not going to concentrate anything because you're not respecting my words. So what is happening here? Your respect towards me is also important, and your belief towards me is also important. Okay, so only that cases this Pygmalion is going to work. Okay, it's people are influenced by the expectations built upon them. Remember that. And how attitude are going to differentiate with the theory X and theory Y and the ethical leadership. The ethical leadership is directed by the respect for ethical beliefs, value for the dignity and rights of others. It's related to concepts such as trust, honesty and consideration, charismatic and fairness is a ethical leadership. So leading is not just by taking your team towards achievement of the goal. It is how you are going to set the goal for your employees ethically, okay, with the strong values, ethical aspects, okay, the strong belief, values, the dignity and rights. So that way you are going to lead the action. Ethical leaders make difficult decisions to reach good result by the employees in organization. They are going to build trust, to be trustworthy, focus on organizational purpose, work to develop their employees, care authentically about their success, hold themselves accountable for behaving ethically. If something goes wrong, as a leader, I take that blame. I should not simply blame my team members. That is called ethical leadership. Can you understand? It is not just something goes well, then you will take the credit. If something goes wrong, you will blame your team members. That is unethical leadership. Getting the difference? Ethical leadership, where you are going to be more ethical and trustworthy. Okay, even though if something goes wrong from your team members, you as a leader, you are going to hold personal responsible. Okay, so this integrity, okay, this integrity is called as a ethical aspects, and behaving with integrity and the way the clearly align the value of the organization. So ethical leadership factors, principles, if they ask, remember: respect others, serve others, shows justice, manifest honesty, and build community. Understand? These are the aspect principles of ethical leadership. And what factors are going to affect the ethical leadership? One is the personality trait and attitude, right? Okay, what kind of personality you are holding and your moral development. And the situation, okay, that is also important factors affecting your ethical leadership behavior. And there are some people, they justify their unethical behavior, okay, so some moral justifications. So there are some golden rules. Don't do anything to other people that you would not want them to do you. So let others as you want to be So this is all about your second unit. You can expect a question: what is self-concept, what is the Big Five model, surgency, and what do you mean by ethics, okay, and what is Pygmalion effect, theory X, theory Y, achievement theory, okay, and so moral development, so traits of effective leader, the ethical leadership. So these are the most important question in this particular unit. So that unit is about leadership behavior and motivation. Here you are going to study a lot of motivation theories, okay, and this theory connected with the leadership, okay. So leadership behavior, So leadership styles. Okay, leadership styles framework by different universities like the Michigan leadership styles and Ohio leadership styles. Okay, and leadership grid by Black and Mougham. That's very popular theories we can remember. And the different leadership styles. Okay, autocratic and democratic. Hope you know that very well. Okay, autocratic leaders make the decision, tell employees what to do, and closely supervise the workers. They're more task centric people. Okay, they're bureaucratic, rules, policy, and procedure. But democratic leadership style, the leader encourages participants in decisions works, and they try to encourage them, not closely supervising the employees. They pass the ownership and independency to the employees. They give a lot of freedom to employees. That is called as a democratic leadership styles. And in the Michigan University leadership styles, remember job centered leadership style, employee centered leadership style. So many times I have mentioned these two centric. One is the job centric and employee centric. Name itself says, I don't want to give any explanation, because job centric is something they are more focused only towards the job, towards the achievement, towards the number, towards the target. But employee centric is always towards the employee behavior, their respect, the kind of relationship. Okay, so these aspects are more considered in the employee centric leadership style. So this in the Michigan leadership styles. And what is the Ohio State University leadership styles? In initiating the structure behavior. Okay, the more behavioral aspects, LBDQ, that is leader behavior description questionnaire. Consideration behavior. Okay, the low and high consideration, high structure and high consideration. The structure and consideration, two different terminology will be used in this particular university aspects. And Black and Mougham, I'm sure you studied very well this one, grid theory, that is 1.1, 9.1, so improvised authority, 9.1, country club, 1.9, and middle of the road, 5.5, because that means that is nothing but numbers are sometimes some leaders will give more importance to people or less importance to task. Some leaders will give more importance to task and less importance to people. So 5.5 is something in the middle of the road, and 1:5. If you see the diagram in the notes, whatever I have given, you will easily understand. Concern for people, concern for production. It's not always low concern for people, high concern for production, or high concern for people and low concern for production. It is not even 5.5. So the best one is a 9.9. That is a team leader. Remember, 5.5 is also good, equally giving good aspect, but highest with respect to both highest concern towards people, towards production is 9.9 in the Black and Mougham managerial grid, you can remember. Leadership and motivation. Okay, so here you will be studying lot of theories about motivational theories, content theory, process theory, reinforcement theory. Okay, so content theory is explaining the predicting behavior. Okay, for example, Maslow's theory or Herbuck's theory, okay, needs theory, these are all content theory. In process theory, equity theory, expectancy theory, goal setting theory, reinforcement theory, extrinsic punishment and positive. So you must remember this classification of motivation theories are very, very important. Okay, so Maslow's hierarchy theory, you have studied a lot of times this theory. This comes in content theory, please remember. Okay, in Maslow's physiological safety, belongingness, esteem needs, self-actualization, and Herbuck's theory, maintenance, extrinsic factors and intrinsic factors. Remember that. Okay, so the motivation comes from outside the person. Okay, that is the extrinsic, and intrinsic that comes from within the person. Motivation comes from within the person, that is called as intrinsic factor. This comes in a Herbuck's two-factor theory of motivation. Okay, and third one is a achievement motivation theory, and already I have told you about achievement motivation theory in the second unit. And the equity theory, so equity theory is nothing but your proportion between your input and output. Okay, so how much output they are producing, and for that how much support you are giving, the input and output proportionate. And expectancy theory, the instrumentality and valence. Goal setting theories. Okay, the goal should be always specific, measurable goal, the identification needs. And reinforcement theory, there is positive and negative reinforcement. Okay, so this is reinforcement is basically proposed that through the consequences for the behavior, people will be motivated to behave in predetermined way. We are going to use this behavior modification and operant conditioning. okay, stimulus, responding behavior, okay, consequence of behavior. This is called the reinforcement. There are both positive and negative reinforcement and extrinsic and punishment. These are the very major theories in this particular unit. And situational leadership or contingency means situational oriented. There are some leaders, they are very what do you call, very dynamic. They are going to shift their approach based on the different situations. Okay, the task structure, leader member relationship, and the appropriate leadership styles with a model, the task or rational model. Okay, there are different styles are there. And the 7 leadership styles, you can remember: autocratic styles, participative style, and the aspects we can remember here is always the normative leadership theory model. Okay, normative leadership theory, decision structure and leader expertise, importance of commitment, and leadership participation styles: decide, consult individually, facilitate and delegate. So the leader substitute theory. So leader substitute theory, hope you know this very well. So with the growing focus of self-managed team, the result-oriented company, coupled with a flattered level of organizational hierarchy, the substitute for leadership. Okay, leadership substitute theory, it includes characteristics of the subordinates, task and company to replace the need for the leader. Substitute of leadership and neutralizer for leadership. Absolutely no called leaders would be present. Okay, substitute leadership, it is unnecessary and redundant actually. And charismatic to the followers, the characteristics of the followers. So this is almost the end of your third unit, where we can expect a lot of theories they might ask you. Please remember all those motivation theory, what is reinforcement, what is self actualization, and what is country club, okay, in that model, and what is neutralizer and the substitutes, and what do you mean by leadership style, Herbuck's theory, 2-factor theory, SMART goal approach, specific, measurable, smart, realistic and time bound, and how leadership styles influence people behavior. Okay, and different universities of the Michigan studies that theory. So those are the very important Maslow's theory, important in this particular unit. And the fourth unit is more about the teams, because third unit is completely about the person. Okay, our motivation, our thought process, personality, behavior, about that. But fourth is comes to next level. There is a team oriented approach. So what do you mean by team? It's a group of people who work together to achieve the common purpose. The individuals comprising the team ideally should have a common goal. And why the uses of teams in the organization? We know that because always a team is better than one person. Okay, if one person has a one idea, the 10 people will have 100 ideas always. Okay, so team is going to offer the better way of doing the things, and self motivation, there will be innovation, we can find empowerment, need fulfillment, faster and better decisions. There are disadvantages of teamwork also. Okay, because when you say team, there will be conflict, pressure, stress, resistance of the team, the social loafing, group think. Okay, so there's the disadvantages of the team. They might ask a question, difference between team and group. Please remember that it is just a collection of individuals who work together for the achievement of the task. But team, a group of person having collective identity joined together to accomplish the goal. Okay, here it's not just group of people, it is they working collectively. Okay, that is called as a team, because the leader in group is always only one leader, but in team always more than one leader will be there always. Please remember. Okay, because so many people can become a leader, or great different kind of leadership quality people will be there in the team, but in group always only one person can become a leader. So easily remember, group is always individual approach, team is always a collective approach. And large number of people will be there always in the group, but team is always limited number of, because when you say different teams, the numbers are limited, but there will be strong cohesiveness, strong affection between the team members. And team effectiveness, the performance, group process, individual satisfaction. These are the 3 components of team effectiveness: task performance, group process, individual satisfaction. Okay, and team norms, how team leadership, effective team leaders, Okay, they make contribution when necessary. Team, they turn obstacles into opportunity. They must adopt new approach. So a lot of aspects are involved with the team service, team composition, team structure. Okay, and organizational support and team creativity. So these are the 7 characteristics are the particular for the teams. And types of team, functional team, cross functional, virtual team, self managed team. Already have explained about this. Functional team is about with respect to one particular function, and cross functional team between different functions. Okay, team members belong to different functions, and virtual teams and self managed teams are the very important types of teams you can decide. Decision making in teams, leader centered decision, team centered decision, normative leadership model. So these 3 are the important aspects in the decision making in teams. Leadership skills for effective meeting: plan the meeting, conduct the meeting, and handling the problematic team members. Okay, these are the leadership skills for effective team meeting. If they ask for a meeting, then you can remember this. One is a plan for the meeting, that means agenda, leadership aspects, when should be the time and place and other aspect, and conduct the meeting. Okay, exactly how to conduct the meeting, summarize the aspects, and each meeting should have cover the following aspects. Leader should also reinforce the following. And handling problems, problem members. Okay, sometimes the members will not be cooperative, handling those members. Okay, and the problem members are usually classified as silent members, talkers, no wanderers, bored, arguers, because some people in meeting they keep on talking, some people will never open their mouth, like that. There are different members in the meeting. So this is with respect to team meeting, you can remember. And self-managed team. Okay, so they might ask a question, remember, difference between self-managed teams and conventional team. What is the difference? Self-managed team is always within the team, but conventional is outside the team always. Okay, because within the team they are going to work, and conventional is very fixed, but it is interchangeable in self-managed team. That means today if I don't know something, immediately somebody becomes a leader tomorrow. Day after tomorrow another person will take an initiative. It is interchanging, but in conventional team it is fixed. If Mr. X is the leader, whole year he is a leader, that's it. But in self-managed teams, it keeps changing, interchangeable. Okay, so self-managed team is always actually the team oriented if you ask, and conventional is always individual. One person is a leader, that's the approach. Okay, and self-managed is always multi-skill, remember. Because there are so many people belong to a particular team, everyone will have a different skills. So we can find multi skills in self-managed team, but conventional there is only one person is a leader. He is specialized in HR, marketing, finance, so only one specialization. But people will have lot of skills, they themselves will be managing. So self-managed teams will have lot of multi-skill people. And how the changing role of leadership in self-managed teams, how the distributed leadership, self-managed team as a facilitator, okay, opening forum, resolve the conflicting, how self-management is going to work. Okay, about that you can there are a couple of things what I have given in the notes, you can study. Okay, guidelines for improving the self-managed team effectiveness. So ensure the whole company has changed its culture, structure, well thought the vision of the way. Okay, avoid overreacting to the first sign of crisis. Pay close attention to the team design decision. These are the various aspects in the self-managed team. So the Ginnett's team effectiveness leadership model also very important. Please remember that model, HPT goals, what's going on, individual characteristics, team factors, and organizational system. That is very easy to remember. Ginnett's team effectiveness leadership model: input, process, output. Please remember this. Okay, inputs, that means your team factors, individual factors, organizational system. Okay, the ability of the team members consist of the various team aspects, that is the input. And process, how team has to work with the hard enough efforts, knowledge, skills, strategy, dynamic. This is a process. And last one is the output. Okay, so this is going to increase the individuals are satisfied, outcomes are happy with the stakeholders. So this is the output. So these 3 aspects of the Ginnett's the team effectiveness leadership model. And yes, so there is a diagram that I have given in the notes, you can just study that. Okay, so how the Ginnett's is going to work with the model. So this is all about the fourth module. Fourth module is all about, remember, team functions, team characteristic, cohesiveness, virtual teams, types of teams, and what is the difference between the group and team, and self-managed team, how it's going to work, and Ginnett's TLM model. Okay, so that's all about this particular unit. So remember the diagram and try to explain with the good points. And the fifth unit is always the LMX followership, delegation, leadership forms, and the strategic leadership. Okay, it's all LMX theory. I hope you remember that. Okay, so dyadic theory, the individualized relationship between the leader and follower in a work unit, that's called as the dyadic theory. So the leadership is attempt to explain why leaders vary in their behavior with different followers. So this is the dyadic approach. Okay, the leader member, team building, and systems and network. Dyadic approach. VDL theory, vertical dyadic linkage, so outgroup and team building theories. LMX theory, hope you know the definition, abbreviation, leader member exchange. LMX theory, it is a quality of exchange relationship between an employee and his her superior, that is called leader member exchange. So it is high quality social exchange with some members with a low quality economic exchange. Okay, LMX employees work with the ethics, so it is characterized by better social support, more resources, more guidance, more negotiable. Okay, so that differences I have given in the notes. And the 3 stages of developing positive LMX relation. Okay, the stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, and 3 factors determine the LMX quality. You can remember how the leader is going to take a major role, and followers and followership. Okay, about that is also there are a few aspects. That means, what do you mean by follower? Who is a follower? What is followership? That is the behavior of a followers that result from the leader. Okay, a follower is a person who is being influenced by a leader, is called follower. Types of follower: effective, the conformist follower, passive follower, so alienated follower. So please remember the types of followers. So conformist means always they are yes people, yes kind of people. Okay, so alienated followers, they are very low on involvement but high on critical thinking. But effective followers, they are high on critical thinking and involvement. Pragmatic followers, that depend on which style fit the prevailing situation. They exhibit very little of all 4 previous styles. That means the mix of effective, mix of passive, mix of conformist, mix of alienated together is called pragmatic followers. So this is very important actual types of followers. And what are the guidelines to become effective leader? Effective follower. Okay, taking initiative, they should understand the situation, they should show the appreciation, they should keep the leader informed always, they should resist some inappropriate influence of the leader. So that is some great characteristics of effective followers. Okay, and the factors influencing the followers influence is the power position always, right? Because when there is a power, they are always easily motivated, and the locus of control, their education and experience are very important in the followers leader relationship. Delegation, that means the process of assigning the responsibility, authority to the accomplishing objectives. What should be delegated? What is the benefit of delegation? Okay, because if you delegate, you can do the things at the earliest, with a less cost, with a better quality. Okay, there are so many advantages. There are disadvantages also, and there are some signs of delegating too little. Okay, sometimes it is going to increase the stress or having a negative work conflict, and there are some obstacles. Okay, delegating decisions. That means selecting what task to be delegated, selecting what should not be delegated. Okay, this is, you should remember what should be delegated, what should not be delegated. And coaching and leadership. Okay, what do you mean by coaching? And the coaching attribution theories. Okay, so how the step by step for a coaching instruction training, preparation of the trainee, training presentation, training performance. There are so many aspects in the coaching guidelines. Give a praise and recognition, avoid blame, focus on behavior, not the person, don't criticize, give specific feedback, have employees assess their own performance. Okay, give coaching feedback, provide modeling and training, make feedback timely and flexible, develop supportive work environment. These are the different aspects in coaching you can remember. The other topic is a conflict. Okay, what are the types of conflict, source of conflict? Like we have an intergroup conflict, organizational conflict, intra-individual conflict, and how this conflict is going to take place. Sometimes because of power, because of authority, because of hierarchical conflict, functional conflict, and what should be management strategy? How to solve this? doing some training program, institutional goal setting programs, participative management, and using some Johari window or role definitions. So there are different ideas to solve the conflict resolution techniques, the cooperativeness and assertiveness. Okay, using this model you can solve the conflict. And there's another important theory that's called as a charismatic leadership. Okay, this is influence based on follower perceptions that the leader is endowed with a gift of divine inspiration or supernatural quality. Remember, okay, they have got some supernatural quality. They're called as a charismatic leaders, charismatic leadership. That means divinely inspired, right? Swami Vivekananda, when you mention the name itself, you get a lot of energy. That name has got such value, that there is a divinely inspired, right? There are so many people like that. They are called as charismatic leaders. The charisma is a fire that ignites the followers. Okay, so Vivekananda, when say dear brothers and sisters, that word which means divinely inspired. So many the foreign people. So that is the meaning of, that is a fire actually. It's going to ignite the followers, and it's a quality that gives someone power and authority. Okay, focused charismatic leadership styles working beyond the call of duty, interest instead of the self-interest actually, and leaders have extraordinary effect on personal life and the process of influencing the major changes. They are visionary, their skills are extraordinary, they have a great empathetic skills, they have a great tremendous knowledge, minimum internal conflict. Okay, because they don't have any great desire. That is, vision is separate, but that is not like any selfishness for charismatic leaders. They are ready to work for the followers. The visionary, the verbal skills, self-confident, inspiring the trust. Those are the qualities of a charismatic leaders. Okay, this is very general. You can study the charismatic leaders. You can give a good examples. Mother Teresa. So many people are there. You can take their example and explain their behavior. Okay, and charismatic quality, how to develop that, and socialize charismatic leaders, SEL, PCL, personalized charismatic leadership, and what are the effects of leadership, how this style is going to impact for the development of your teams. Okay, that is a model of personal meaning. You can explain charismatic leadership aspects. And transformational process will take place, that becomes a transformational leader. Okay, these leaders are going to bring the great transformation in the society, in the organization. They're called as a transformational leaders, right? Okay, so the goals of the leader are the followers. They are more influential and inspirational. Okay, they are strong emotional bond. They develop great empowerment. Okay, they're called as a transformational leaders. That means they serve to change the status, by calculating the followers, their personal characteristics and followers reaction. Okay, that is a transformational leaders. They have a great charisma, intellectual ability. Okay, they want to bring the changes. They build commitment. They articulate the vision. Okay, they set an example. They have a high performance expectation. Okay, they are the great transformers. Okay, even today we remember those people. They are the transformational leaders. And the stewardship is an employee focused form of leadership that empower followers to make a decision and have control over the job. Okay, that is equality assumption, teamwork, decentralization, and the assumptions. So the servant leadership, what is its meaning? So the appropriate guidelines for these particular leadership styles. And there are different pillars of several leadership theories. And different types of culture, types of organizational culture is one. You should remember the importance of the cooperative culture, adaptive culture, competitive, bureaucratic culture. Okay, different types of culture: strong culture, weak culture, low performing culture, high performing culture. Okay, that is existing in the organization. So the insular thinking and leadership changing demographic diversity, defining diversity, reason for embracing diversity. Okay, how the leader should be helpful to find the embracing the changes. So these are the major aspects in the particular unit. Here we can expect a question like followers. What is followership? What is LMX? Okay, leader member exchange. What is culture? What is diversity? What is delegation? What is conflict? What is charisma? Okay, and what are the reasons for the what are the types of organization culture? okay, and how the leader is in strategic management process will be helpful. LMX theory and the types of followers, delegational model, LMX quality. So this you can remember. And coming to the last unit is about the leadership development and succession planning. Okay, this you know, you should study that succession planning. First is the leadership development, how leadership talent can be developed. Leadership development may include your self development of the within the organization. So when this development will take place, your self awareness, self discipline, your education, your experience, your mentoring skills, these qualities are going to improve your developmental stages. Understood? There is a leadership development through self awareness, because when you are aware about your own skills, your own knowledge, your own strength, your own weakness, then only you can develop, right? That is self awareness. In that we have a single loop learning, double loop learning, and leadership development through self discipline. Okay, that is also equally important. Okay, your disciplinary aspect, development through education. Okay, your formal education, your formal knowledge, and development through experiences. That is types of experiences: broad experience, pivotal life experience, challenging experience, and through mentoring process, key elements of mentoring. Okay, how provide the support, leadership development programs. Okay, the feedback sensitive coaching, action learning, socialization. Okay, different development programs are there. You can read that. And the evaluation of leadership development program and its efforts. So evaluation of this approach. The other important topic is succession planning. It is a process of identifying and grooming people to replace managers. That is called succession, right? Identifying and grooming people to replace the manager, that is succession plan. Being groomed as the successor is a part of leadership development. What is succession planning? The process of identifying and developing suitable team members who are able to replace key positions as and when required. Suddenly leaders, tomorrow he will resign the job. Who is going to become the leader for day after tomorrow? Somebody is ready. Somebody should be ready. So you are going to groom that person to take that position. That plan is called as a succession planning. So here, what is the benefits of succession planning? You can save a lot of time, money. Okay, sets a timetable for transfer of ownership easily. They can adjust because your own team member is going to take the position. So he knows or she knows the culture of the company very well. Immediately you can adjust to the environment. Okay, what is the succession planning process? Identify key leadership position first. Okay, which are the most crucial position? Identify. Second one, identify competency skills required to fill the position. Third one, assess current bench strength. Current what kind of people we have today? Is it possible anybody to train them to become a future leader? Then design and implement the career development strategies and evaluate the strategy. So through this process, you can identify a person to become a future leader. And leadership, the succession aspects. Okay, the concerns, the growing inside, and the leadership succession planning steps and process. So future leaders, the leadership pipeline, the very general aspect, you can remember that. So this is very small unit, the last unit. Okay, if you look at the previous question paper, there are so many questions which we have already discussed, but if you just go through this, what are the aspects which I have discussed will be really helpful to you. For example, what is delegation? Explain the types of conflicting management styles, types of team, okay, and hierarchical theory, okay. So can we say Gandhiji is a transformational leader? Discuss and explain. Like that they will ask. Okay, you must connect what is a transformation leader, characteristics of transformation leader, characteristics of charismatic leaders. So that you should study and you should connect to this personality and explain. Or any business people, Ratan Tata is a charismatic leader. Something like that they might ask you. You must justify with the proper explanation. And managers, different between manager, different between team and group. Okay, what is mean by the leadership styles, and what I mean by the charismatics, and the leader talking with the two employees verbally and fighting. So some cases will be there. So try to connect all these cases with a particular concept of your leadership concepts. Okay, what are the concepts we have? Okay, for example, the Pygmalion effect. Okay, so try to bring that concept in the case studies. Okay, contingency leadership theory, self-managed team, charismatic leader, transactional leadership, strategic leadership. Okay, so like that there are generally frequent last questions are there which I have given. You can just go through that. Okay, various roles of leader of the organization, effective leader, and virtual teams reinforcement. So these are the different aspects in this particular unit. It is almost connected to your first semester organization behavior. Many aspects of behavior we can find. Okay, so please try to relate to that, and you can explain with the personality, conflict, negotiation, succession planning. Okay, so almost all the theories and leader trait theory, contingency theory, leadership autocratic styles. Okay, so ultimately, and followers, what should be the characteristics of a good leader, sorry, effective follower. Okay, whom you call it as a very good follower. So like that, connect with the relationship between the leader and follower. So this is all about the OL, organizational leadership. But main thing is, remember a few that models, whatever is there. Okay, and the theories, motivation theory, your Maslow's theory, or the two-factor theory, equity theory. Okay, so those theories, please remember, at least some with the same major, some highlights you can remember that. And classification of various motivation theory, and Pygmalion effect, and the Big Five model is also very important. So these major things you can remember. Definitely, I'm sure you're going to write very well. So if you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, tomorrow I wish you all the very best for your exam. So do well. Okay, so please note down in a sheet of paper some points. You can just note down, and before 1 hour before the exam, just go through the points. Otherwise, it will be really confusing. A couple of points. So better write a few points, whatever I have discussed till now. Some points you can write in a sheet of paper and just have a look at that. You can remember. So don't get panic. It is you can score very well in this subject. Okay. Thank you. All the very best.